Hello, testing. Okay.哄于今良辰吉日时，陈设招福缘起物，行持勾招福禄事。祈祷天尊重垂念，依于三宝第十力，三根护法加持力，高贵福庆招于此，伟人福庆招于此，兴旺福庆招于此，威严福庆招于此，富足福庆招于此，隆盛福庆招于此，智者福庆招于此，尊贵福庆招于此，成就福庆招于此，安乐福庆招于此，幸福福庆招于此，贤善福庆招于此，英勇福庆招于此，美貌福庆招于此，谦和福庆招于此，尊胜诸方福庆招于此，心想事成福庆招，所欲增上福庆招，吉祥健康长寿福庆招，全是美玉福庆招，吉祥善妙福庆招，由从山顶福庆招，由从海底福庆招，由从四方福庆招，天才如云密又密，龙财四海满盈盈，人才天所摇又摇，恰似日轮明灿灿，亦如月轮圆亮亮，又如众星闪又闪，宛若云雾密又密，犹如江河浪滔滔，亦如细雨淅沥沥。科耶科耶招福庆，呵耶呵耶聚福庆，呵啦呵丹吉福庆，福如大海满盈盈，福如天所转乎乎，福似愁云密又密，此福切莫逃山间，此福勿泄于门外，此福切莫散他方，园中增福六处满，库藏降福五谷丰，福庆临门人丁旺，美味佳肴聚如海，福庆财宝堆如山，恒常普降华衣雨，天众圣德常相守，幻化宝藏等虚空，其次无尽福息地，由从十方虚空际，摄集福禄之精华，融入我及所修衣，不衰坚固如圣床，不坏恒常如金刚，不变永恒如梦想，犹如日月愿普照，犹如大云愿增盛，犹如妙果愿成熟，随心所欲悉满愿，增上福庆之息地，犹如殊胜摩尼宝，如意树及宝屏藏， 一切意愿任运成，吉祥如意金粟赐。Now we are introducing this one, Our Pristine Mind by Ujin Chuwang Rinpoche. So this is one of the greatest master, Jinmei Pengcuo Rinpoche's disciple, who brought meaning, purpose, and happiness to my life. Start with the preface. Our Pristine Mind is a practical guide to unconditional happiness. In order to have the most beneficiary effect for all of you, thanks for attending. I wish you to take a deep breath and relax. Just find a position straightening your spine and make sure you're comfortably sitting. Experiencing our pristine mind, who we really are, and thereby achieving true unconditional happiness is what this book is about. To introduce this profound, transformative path of experience to you, I would like to tell you first how this book came to exist. I hope that sharing my own journey with you will give you a deeper understanding of the journey you are about to undertake. I spent my childhood in eastern Tibet, in a small village. Oftentimes I found myself in the hills above the village, just gazing at the clear blue sky and the clouds passing by. I enjoyed that peaceful time, with my mind spacious and clear like the sky above. At the age of 14, I received the rare opportunity to become a student of one of the greatest enlightened masters of the 20th century, Jinmei Pengcuo Rinpoche. I left home and started my studies at the Larangar, my teacher's famous retreat center. The living conditions at Larangar at that time were harsh, with very cold winters, scanty food, and few comforts. For the first year, I lived on my uncle's porch with only a curtain protecting me from the snow. After that, my parents built me a small house where I stayed for the next 8 years of my training. Even though the living conditions continued to be challenging, they never felt too difficult to bear. In fact, this was a time in my life when I experienced tremendous joy. During these 9 years, my focus was on studying the canon of Buddhist literature, particularly the advanced teachings known in Tibet as Vajrayana and Dzogchen. But my studies were not just dry reading and test taking, as you might imagine. I found great inspiration and joy through singing Vajra songs, poems that have arisen in the minds of enlightened masters out of their meditation experience. These poems express extraordinary wisdom. After each day of class and study, I went back to my little house and sung many Vajra songs, particularly those of the great master Longchenpa from 14th century and Mepong Rinpoche, 19th century. After many years of study, I was given the title Kempo, the rough equivalent of a PhD. It dedicates and indicates having a full understanding of the Buddhist literature and also meaning having achieved some degree of meditation experience, so that I was qualified to give teachings and guide others in their practice as well. Overall, the teaching I received during these years gave me the knowledge and practical tools I needed in order to lead a life of fulfillment and transformation for both myself and others. I embarked on a career in teaching. I was especially attracted to the idea of traveling and teaching in many places around the world. A few years later, I met Tingli Rinpoche, an extraordinary and highly esteemed teacher and author. We made a close connection, and I received teaching from him. In late 1995, he invited me to visit him in the United States. I spent about 4 months at his residence in upstate New York. Then I moved to Santa Cruz, California, to teach at the great Yogi Lama Thurchen Rinpoche's Dharma Center. When I first came to the United States, I only knew a few words of English, like hello and goodbye. Still, I was fascinated with meeting people and finding out about how they lived and how they viewed the world. I ended up staying at Lama Turchin's center for 3 years. It was an exciting and interesting experience. I gave teachings at the Shidra, or College of Buddhist Study, which ran for about a month every year. And I also gave informal teachings to students who lived there or visited from time to time. Sometimes very good interpreters were provided to translate into English as I spoke Tibetan. During this time, I learned more and more about how people speak and understand English. The translators were very skilled, but despite their abilities, I didn't feel satisfied that the students were really getting what I was teaching. It wasn't the translator's fault. The problem was really the way language works. For your listeners to get the true experience of what you teach, you need to have your own voice. You need to select your own words and phrases and not have someone else choose the words for you. No matter how good your translator is, if you don't personally choose your own words so as to say what you really mean, the translation will distort the meaning to some degree, and the meaning won't be received by the listener in a clear and powerful way. So I thought a lot about how to deal with this problem. In 1999, I moved in the San Francisco Bay Area. While living there, I gathered with students in the Napa Valley 4 times a year and taught meditation with an excellent translator. As I listened to people's questions and my translator's way of expressing my thoughts, I understood the English language more and more and realized how powerful it could be in conveying the teachings. But also, I knew more and more that the full message of what I was trying to communicate wasn't really getting across. I needed to speak more directly with people and develop my own spiritual language in English. So far, the next few years, except for the Napa Valley retreats, I kept mostly to myself, working with only one person, Josh Golden, as my assistant. I began writing a book. I still didn't speak English very well, yet I started to write a book in English. I was crazy, but I was determined. I told Josh that by publishing a book we could achieve two valuable goals. We could develop a very natural, experiential language for clearly expressing the teaching of meditation. And even more importantly, we could share these teachings effectively with others. During this time, while I worked on that book, mostly I simply lived quietly at home, practicing meditation and deepening my meditation experience. Sometimes I went out to coffee shop and other public space to see how people spend their time. I watched the TV news not so much for the news, but to improve my English and observe how people perceive themselves and the world. I spent some time with a few students. I pored over the texts I had studied during my training. I sang Vajra songs. Slowly, Josh and I compiled transcripts of talks I had given about different types of meditation into a manuscript that I titled Power of Meditation. It was informative, yet it still contained vocabulary that made it only understandable to readers who were already familiar with these types of teachings. I knew that readers who were unfamiliar with the subject matter would find the book hard to follow. After working on the manuscript for some time, I began to realize that there was something more that I needed to say, and that I had to say it in a more direct way. I had the aspiration to write a guide to the entire path of meditation in one book. From the moment the reader begins this journey, up to the time of becoming an advanced meditator, and gradually all the way to complete enlightenment. With this inspiration, I put that first manuscript aside and began to work on the new book. That was the beginning of our pristine mind. A personal turning point for me occurred between 2004, the time I first began work on this book, and 2008. Previously, with all my studies, I had understood the Buddha's teachings intellectually, but I did not feel my experiential insights was anywhere near as profound as it could be. But now, during these 4 years, I really concentrated on my own practice. At the same time, I was working on this book. I was striving to live by the principles of this book, and I was also eager to share these principles effectively with others. A tremendous help in unfolding the content of this book was teaching I did during this time. At the Napa Valley retreats, I practiced meditation together with my students for a period ranging from 3 to 5 days. I gave oral teachings both in Tibetan with my translator and in English with the translator helping me to put my broken English into standard English. All these teachings were recorded. The recordings were transcribed to create the material for this book. Then Josh and I added the transcripts to make them clear and more succinct. My facility with written English improved as I learned the new words and looked for ways of expressing my meaning more precisely and more naturally, without academic or intellectual overlays. The frictions of this time that I spent dedicated to my meditation practice and working on the book came in 2011. A beautifully descriptive term came to me: pristine mind. I was so excited and inspired to find the term pristine mind. More excited and inspired than I had ever been. Finding this term was like finding a home. It was a really amazing experience. I realized this is it. This communicates everything. Now I have a perfect name for giving Dzogchen teachings. Pristine Mind Meditation. Now I have a name for my organization, Pristine Mind Foundation. Gaining that name was very important. It's very, very precious. In the Dzogchen teachings, there is a Tibetan term, cat dog, short for Kanadapa. Kata means pristine from the beginning. Ka is the first letter of the Tibetan alphabet, like the letter A in English. If something is pristine starting from A, that means it's completely, utterly pure and pristine. Pristine from the beginning, or innately pristine. Then there is also the term Kadaripa, which means pristine mind or pristine awareness. So the meaning of Dzogchen term Kadaripa is unlocked in English when it's translated as pristine mind. You can practically touch or taste pristine mind. It feels cool, crisp, and refreshing, like pristine waters. Discovering that the key was a really satisfying and delightful experience. Now the book could fully unfold. Each time I meditate with students, I gave a test drive to Pristine Mind and the way it conveyed the meaning of the teachings. Each time we gathered together, the sense of the term became more clear and graspable than before. It's not just through conceptual understanding, but also through meditation that the meaning has become clearer and clearer. Pristine mind is a genuine, unfabricated Dzogchen term. As I continue to work on the book and give teachings, other Dzogchen terms revealed themselves in nature. Non-intellectual English. All of the special terms that I use in this book. Pristine mind, mental events, ordinary mind, undistorted perception, and others. Embody the traditional Dzogchen language and bring it to life in contemporary English. But although I have carefully chosen the English words to embody them teachings, I must emphasize that the source of the teachings is the Buddha and the teaching of Guru Rinpoche Padmasambhava, who is called the second Buddha for his role in bringing the teachings of the Buddha to Tibet. In addition, Longchenpa, Maipo Rinpoche, and my precious teacher Jinmei Pengcuo Rinpoche are great masters whose teachings are crucial to this book. I relied completely on the wisdom of all these masters. The opportunity to express and communicate their teachings in the English language is a great privilege. My heart is filled with tremendous appreciation and gratitude for these enlightened teachers and their teachings. They have been and will contribute to be the source of great benefit to myself and others. Our pristine mind is that guide to the entire path that I long to write for so many years. The teachings can be understood and mastered by everyone who practices them. After you have read this book and engaged in the practice, you will emerge with a very different understanding of your mind and your world than you had before. The goal of Pristine Mind meditation, as well as my own wish for you, is to realize and experience pristine mind. Everybody possesses pristine minds, since it is our true nature. But we each need to uncover it for ourselves, revealing pristine mind now and for future generations to come, and helping everyone to find unconditional happiness. That is the purpose of this book. The teachings that were given to me and that I now wish to pass on to you, I believe in and know to be true with all my heart. But you do not have to take my word for it, nor should you. Let the teachings speak to you directly and make your own decision.